please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Still counting down to pre-open. Ms. Tulsian, I wanted your thoughts on a couple of more stocks, Titan and Bajaj Finsery. Now that they're part of the index, anecdotally, stocks underperform immediately after entry into the Nifty. Do you think that could happen with these two stocks as well, considering the kind of run-up we have seen, especially in names like Titan?
See, I don't think that this should really happen, but it is very difficult to say because it has happened, having happened with many of the stocks, after having incorporated in the Nifty, and the performance has not been seen. But we have been keeping extremely positive views on Bajaj Finsery. We have not been keeping the positive view on, maybe the bullish or maybe buy call view on Titan because of the expensive valuations and because of the apathy of the people now buying, buying jewelry because of the expensive things. Even in case of Titan, the jewelry making costs are seen to be quite high when you talk to the people on the street. It is more of if you are a compulsive buyer for the events, maybe in your family or any other things, the making cost of 25–30%, and people are talking that if you rotate your jewelry by 3 times, you will practically be losing the entire value of the metal which you have bought. So maybe that could, because of that reason, now people are not finding any other alternative because of so many loss of faith on other jewelers. So maybe Titan is enjoying that benefits. But we have been keeping extremely positive views on Bajaj Finsery for the simple reason that the company being the holding company of Bajaj Finance, where we have extremely positive views, where the growth of 30% CAGR is seen for next 3 years. And apart from their standalone, life and general insurance business, both are doing quite well. So we are having positive view on Bajaj Finsery, but difficult to give a technical, view what will be the behavior after they having included along with Grasim in this from this series in Nifty.
All right, Mr. Tulsian, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us this morning with your thoughts and your observations on several stocks. The first rates have started coming in and it's very, very mixed. Sensex and Nifty going in opposite directions. So I think we should definitely allow the stocks to settle down a bit. I guess Tata Motors should be the cynosure of the market today, considering that its numbers have been very good. So that's up 1.7, but Eicher is also doing well, and Eicher's also had positive news. That's up 3%, M&M up 2.5%, Titan up 2%. That's the morning scene, and now the Nifty's climbed to a more sedate 0.3% higher, a third of a percent higher, 35 points up. Sensex also, okay, now up about 45. So they're trying to find their feet. Any other big stocks that we get? Bharat Forge, perhaps we have to look at, since the North American truck numbers have looked very good. Bharat Forge also starting on the front foot, as it were. Maybe we want to check out ICICI to see if the headlines are still depressing that stock. Yes, back again 1.5% lower. Rupees opening stronger.
Okay, well, a couple of other stocks, right? Vakrangi, I mean, that's once again is down almost about 5-odd%. Many of those Kendras are not Kendras. They don't even exist. That's what some reports are suggesting. So, Vakrangi under pressure. Videocon is down another 4.5%. Keep an eye out on that. On the upside, Quality was making an attempt to recover the last few days. So, looks like that could continue. It's up almost about 9-odd% right now. And a couple of other stocks, Voltas, AC prices have gone up. The demand has improved. So, Voltas is up in the green. And Zensar on the back of order wins, also that stock could look good today. Yeah.
Infibeam has for last 2 days been looking quite interesting. Ashok Leyland is very close to making another lifetime high, so that one would be an interesting stock to keep on your radar in today's trade. And a couple of other names which look interesting right now. I've spoken about Apollo Tyres, of course. JSW Steel, that of course is stronger of all the steel stocks, so that one is something that you would want to keep on your radar. Tata Power, by the way, so that one as well had a good start, but is now cooling off a bit. So that one also looking quite interesting. But for now, rates are, indeed on the higher side.
Oh. Yeah, but what takes your breath away is the way in which dollar rupee is performing. Dollar is cheaper by about 15 pice now, and that's not because of any dollar weakness globally. Globally, dollar is doing fine with the index moving now to 90 plus. So it's not as if there is some global weakness, but clearly India is a rank outperformer today. Doing pretty well, the dollar rupee. Don't know what to attribute this to. Maybe there is an expectation that the Reserve Bank, as part of the monetary policy, will allow more FPI in debt. Okay. That fills up very quickly. The moment the limit is raised, SEBI auctions the limits to various brokerages, and it gets bid up and bought quickly. At the moment, the GSEC levels are full up. And there is a hope that, you know, a small window will open up. Maybe that's what's keeping the dollar so cheerful, I mean, the rupee so cheerful, and the dollar slightly weak.
Okay, well, let's also get a handle on what's happening in the commodity space. It looks like it's going to be a good day for equities, at least a good start. Manisha Gupta joins in. Okay, by the way, this is the first forecast that's coming in from SkyMet on the monsoons this year. Newsrise is talking about a forecast of a normal monsoon this year. That's the first word coming in from SkyMet. Of course, we'll wait for IMD, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, that will be the official, but such welcome news this is.
Yes.
I wish they had added the word early also to it, but that's wishful thinking. Manisha, it's all yours, the SkyMet forecast and everything else that you want to fill us in on.
Well, SkyMet does come in as a good news, Lata. I think we can totally do with that. The IMD forecast, as they have told us, would come in only by 16th or 17th of April. So it would really be by the third week of this month that we would see. But details on the SkyMet forecast would be most welcome, because what they had told us initially off record was that they are looking at a normal monsoon across India and not just some pockets in sense of geographical distribution. But we will, of course, await all of those details. In the meanwhile, as you have been talking, in the international markets as well, you have seen the US dollar gain up versus the safe havens like the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc. The risk appetite has returned. You also have seen the global equity markets turn on the higher side, and that in turn has been supportive for the industrial commodities. So the crude oil prices, well, they gained nearly 1% overnight. They're off the $70 high kinds that we saw in the previous week itself, but we have seen buying opportunity on the lower sides there. Also, if you look at the speculative longs in case of Brent, that is at record highs. So while, of course, that is a positive, but it is also vulnerable to some profit taking at these higher levels. There also have been some positive statements, especially from Russia, where they say that once this output agreement ends by the end of 2018, they are looking to form a joint organization to see an extension of this kind of an agreement where all the major oil producers come together. Apart from that, it also is about the US non-farm payroll data this Friday. You also are watching out for the US Fed Chief Powell's testimony, or rather statement, before this weekend. So those are a couple of important data points that the markets would take cues from. The metals, in the meanwhile, have seen some strength come back. The equity market strength has rubbed over here as well. So you have the copper prices trading at a one-week highs. The steel and the iron ore prices also are trading in the positive. A quick word on the agriculture commodities, because they are moving a lot. The sugar prices in the Indian markets have continued to decline, and with the kind of latest number that ISMA put out yesterday, it has led to the global sugar prices also falling to 2.5-year lows. So that is one commodity that you need to watch out for. In the meanwhile, yesterday evening, we have seen the essential commodity prices gain up as the group of ministers finally have narrowed down to two options. That is, one is a price differential scheme and the other is market assurance schemes. So one of these is what the state governments will take in. Because of that, you have seen most of the essential commodity prices turning positive in the green in the markets today as well.
All right. Thank you very much for those details, Manisha. We'll keep a close watch on commodities. But there's something more that our colleague Ashpreet broke yesterday. The Rajnath Singh group of ministers cleared the way for the calculation and the implementation of minimum support price, which is, of course, a budget commitment that the minimum support price would be 1.5 times the production cost. Now, we still don't know how the production cost is going to be calculated. Will it include family labor? Will it include land rent? But what the group of ministers did finalize is two methods in which it will be operationalized, which will be the market assurance scheme and the price deficiency payment scheme. Now, what do these mean? Apparently, they're not going to include private procurers. What does this mean for both the deficit and for the prices of crops? Ashok Gulati, chair of Professor Agriculture of ICRIER, and of course a former chairman of the Agricultural Prices Commission, joins us. Good morning, Professor Gulati. So what should we understand with this? It should be a market assurance scheme or a price deficiency payment scheme. What should we understand from this?
You know, price deficiency scheme was experimented in Madhya Pradesh. That Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana, abruptly it was called off for the Rabi because the Kharif results showed that literally it is impossible to reach, sufficient number of farmers. Overall production that was covered and compensated for was not more than 22% of the total production. So that raises a question why the farmers did not register in the scheme. Do they have confidence in the government, the lower functionaries that are registering, and how the compensation will be made? Small farmers normally sell at the farm gate, so will they get any compensation? How they will get? They will come through the aggregators who may not be farmers, so they will not be getting any compensation. So the net result of that is price deficiency payments, if we go by, number one, it is prone to manipulation by the traders because they will say, okay, you will get compensation from the government, so I'm going to suppress the price. So you will end up, and since 70-80% of the farmers may not get compensation, and they will have to face market prices which are unduly suppressed. So the potential loss to them is going to be perhaps more than the compensation you have provided to the remaining minority.
So if the government were to adopt the market assurance scheme, I mean, I also wanted to understand if the fiscal impact will be more than, will be higher if they adopt the market assurance scheme.
Question is that if there is excess supply, at the end of the round you have to understand that if you announce MSPs which are above the equilibrium price, then the supplies have to be taken out of the market for some time at least. They have to be in stocking or exported, or if they remain in the market will remain depressed, and traders will take full advantage of that, even depressing it further. So someone has to procure, but how many commodities you procure? You are going to announce 23 commodities, and now 23 commodities as the government starts procuring, and then some states like Haryana experimented with even cauliflower and potatoes and onions and everything, and Madhya Pradesh has announced even garlic. Where do you stop?
Well, Dr. Gulati,
is the government becoming 25-30 commodities procurement agency? That's not feasible. It's not practical.
Dr. Gulati, that clearly was my next question. Are we any wiser with these two options that the group of ministers have thrown out? Because MSP, while of course the government has a lot of experience in, that is something that they have been doing. But even that, the implementation on ground really has been a question. On the other side, as you said, the differential scheme that MP put out also has been stopped abruptly. So with the two schemes that we already have experimented with, what is the kind of implementation are we looking at on the state government side?
You think of bigger states, Bihar. There is no market arrival recorded. There is no APMC market. What is happening there? Nobody knows what is the market price really. So how do you handle that situation? Same thing is in much of UP. So these are the states which are going to pose a major challenge. Therefore, I think the states like Telangana have announced that they are going to give on per hectare basis. So that is easier, perhaps less prone to manipulation. It's more transparent. It is more inclusive.
All right.
And it is equitable.
All right, Mr. Gulati, point taken. Thanks a lot for your time this morning. Pre-open rates settled, and they are flat with positive bias. Actually, quite a bit of positive bias on the Nifty, up 30 points. The Bank Nifty is a bit flat. Ashwini, what would be the first trade, and what's your 9-10 call?
See, first trade, like I said, the market's likely to consolidate, at least on the Bank Nifty and even on the Nifty. So if we get closer to, say, 10,265 on the Nifty futures and maybe 24,500 below those levels, only then you need to buy. 914, you would tend to buy DV's Lab. That's a buy with a stop of 1,095, target of 1140.
Okay. Well, at least the markets are starting with a positive view from SkyMet. We don't know whether that's how it's going to play out. Sudarshan, anything that's on your radar? I specifically wanted to ask about Avenue Supermart as well.
Well, Avenue Supermarket is not a buying opportunity for the day, but for an investor, even at current prices, it's worth going into. BEML, that old forgotten stock of yesteryear, that's giving signs of life. That could be considered as a buy for the day.
Okay, BEML is a stock he's talking about. Eicher Motors, by the way, is the biggest Nifty gainer right now. Ashwini, Eicher Motors at 28,000 is still about 20% off from its all-time highs. You get a sense that it could resume that upside?
See, it's done a lot of upside in the last 2-3 years. My sense is whatever the news, it will consolidate. If you want to buy it on a bad day, buy it around, say, 26,500 thereabouts. On a good day, above 30,000, you should be able to sell it. But overall, I don't think in the short run there's a whole lot. But if you're a long-term investor, you can accumulate in these zones.
Okay, today Mindtree is also starting with a spring in the step, and that's been a favored stock, although it moved off from 850. Mitesh?
Lata, I do like the stock. I think it gave a good correction, and I think it's again showing signs of a movement on the upside. I think this time the stock can possibly get back to about levels of 840, 855, which is the upper end of the zone. I think it might just do a range of about 850 to roughly about 760, 765 on the downside for the next few weeks.
Okay, we still have about 40 seconds. Okay, a final call before the market starts. Ashwini, on Tata Motors, after being a dog of a stock, the last 1 week has been kind.
It looks like it's made some sort of a short-term bottom and could rally back towards levels of 400. So for the moment, it's similar to ICICI Bank, where shorts are getting covered, and that could lead to a rally.
Okay, ICICI shorts are getting covered. Well, we'll have to see, because the stream of bad news doesn't end. So today, of course, it's starting with a downtick of 1%. Markets, however, 0.3% in the green.